All right, so we're going to pick up with number 22. So these ones say to solve triangle ABC using the diagram and the measurements given. So they're going to give you basically two measurements, and then we're going to use that to find all the other pieces. So you will need your calculator for this. For all of these problems, the triangle is going to look like this. They actually give you a triangle. So you're going to have angle A, B, and C. And then like that.
I wrote down the homework. I was like, oh my goodness, she's already picked it out. And that's yesterday's homework.
And sometimes on the test, I won't necessarily draw the triangle for you. You can just draw your own, but obviously it's not drawn to scale because every problem is different, so it doesn't really matter. But that's the positioning. Why this is literally supposed to be a B. What's happening? There we go. Okay. So number 22, we are given that angle B, so the angles are always going to be capital letters, the sides are always going to be lowercase. So angle B is 53 degrees, and side A is 12.
Is it okay if I put like the angle sign in front of it, just so I know that that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
that's fine. All right, so I usually will, even though they give me a triangle to begin with, I usually will go ahead and draw my own with the values written into it. So I'll usually do something like that. Ultimately, we need all 6 pieces of our triangle. Some of them were given, some of them were not. So the given was that angle B was 53 degrees, side A was 12. So I'm going to be solving for the rest. So I just go ahead and write that, and then as I solve stuff, I'll just plug it in over in the final answer spot. So we know that this angle was 90, obviously. So we can go ahead and put that in for C. Even though it wasn't specifically stated, we do know that. Angle B was 53 degrees, so I'm going to write that in. So angle A is what we don't know. But before I even go to the sides, what do we know about the angles in a triangle?
When added together, they equal 180 degrees.
Yep, so I can find angle A by doing 180 minus 90 minus 53. And that will come out to be 37 degrees. So my angles are all done. So now I need to find side B and side C. So I'm going to use a trig function to solve for the other side. Now, I don't remember too much about what we did in geometry because I haven't done geometry since 9th grade. So I don't remember if this is something you've seen before or not, but basically what we do is we take values that we know and we solve for something that we don't know. So I know side A, which is right here, that was 12. And that's the only side that I currently know. So I need to use a function if I'm going to use B that was given to me, which I will also tell you, especially when we get into some later sections, if you have the option to use a angle that was given to you, do it, because that way you guarantee that it's right, because not all triangles that we're going to do are going to be right triangles. So right now they are, so it's like, okay, well, you know, it should be pretty simple, but when we get to the where they're not, like, that can make a difference. So anyways, so we're going to solve, so what trig function would be one that we could use where we're given, we have this side here and this angle? Not sine, but tangent will work.
Or cosine.
So tangent is opposite over adjacent, so we would have the tangent of 53 degrees is equal to B over 12, opposite over adjacent.
I was really hoping that they they'd both be wrong, so it would just be like, cosine. It's right. I know what it is.
I think
Well,
we-
cosine would have also worked because it
Oh,
was
okay.
adjacent.
Virginia, you said the one that wouldn't work.
Well, I thought, I don't know why, but when I said it, I was like, oh yeah, opposite over adjacent. But
Yeah, that's tangent.
So we have 12 tangent of 53 degrees equals B. Now, before you type this in your calculator, there's something that we need to check. And again, it would be more important later, but right now, you need to hit mode at the top of your calculator. And then you should see some options pop up, and the third option down says radian or degree. Make sure degree is highlighted. Radian will come up later, but right now we're doing everything in degrees, so that's what you need it to be in. And if it's not, your answers won't come out right. So if you type that in, what do you get?
We have to have the degree sign.
You don't type in a degree sign.
Okay.
15 point. It's kind of long. How many decimals should I go out to?
So what I will end up telling you is to always round to the nearest whole number.
Okay.
Just because when we get to the stuff that's later, it's just easier to work with whole numbers.
Cool. 16.
All right, so then to find the other side, you have a couple options. You can either at this point use the Pythagorean theorem, or you can use another trig function. Just while we're getting used to it, I'm going to go ahead and use another trig function because you know how to use the Pythagorean theorem. So what is something that deals with the hypotenuse and maybe what we were given to begin with? Because if our number was wrong, then we don't necessarily want to use that because then it makes the other stuff wrong.
Cosine.
Cosine.
Okay, so adjacent and hypotenuse. So cosine of 53 is equal to adjacent, so that's 12 over C. I was trying to figure out what letter it was supposed to be. So when you have something like this is on the bottom, so I can just flip the two things. So C is equal to 12 divided by the cosine of 53. They can just switch. Because basically what's going to happen is I'm going to multiply by C because it's on the bottom, and then I'm going to have to divide by cosine of 53. So I'm just doing it as one step and just flipping it. So C equals 12 divided by the cosine of 53. And then you can type that in. I assume y'all found the sine, cosine, and tangent buttons.
I did. I couldn't find it first, but I found it.
20. Jamie.
20.
I
said it first. I should be included, guys. You said yourself out there. Really am. I'm gonna take my turn whether it's mine or not.
Any questions about that one? All right, let's see. Let's do 26. So we've got A is equal to 49 degrees, and C is, the side length is 12.
I thought you said it's
Yeah, you said 12 and you wrote 27.
It's literally supposed to be 27. Why did I say 12? Because I'm literally looking at two problems that are side by side, and one of them's 12 and one of them's 27.
Okay.
It is 27.
It's like I heard 12 and then I look up and I'm like,
It's 27. It's 49 degrees and 27 for side length. The problem, basically right above it is 12, so I
yeah.
saw the right thing but read the wrong thing, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay. So triangle. Put in stuff that I know. Let's see, A is this top angle. This was 49 degrees. And then I'm going to go ahead and set up my stuff over here. And I'll fill in what I know. So I knew 49 degrees for A and 27 for C. I also know that angle C is 90 degrees. So then B must be what? 41 degrees.
By the way, Virginia, can you unjinx me?
So now I need side A and side B. So this was, wait. So I'm going to use, well, it really doesn't matter. You can use A or, I mean, you can use A or B, but A was given to us to begin with. So what's a trig function in relation to A that also deals with the hypotenuse that I can use for either of the other sides?
Sine.
Sine, okay, so sine is going to solve for side A. So the sine of 49 is equal to little a over 27. We just multiply. So A is equal to 27 sine of 49. Huh? 20? And then how about my other side?
Cosine.
Cosine. So what would that be? Or like, what do I write?
Cosine or cos 49 is equal to 27 over 20. I mean
B over 27.
B over 27.
Yep.
Good job, Jenny.
So B equals 27 cosine of 49. Questions about that one? All right, we're gonna do one more, but I'm gonna have y'all try this one on your own and then we'll go over it so that you can see if you're understanding the process. So 28, you're given the angle B is 24 degrees and then side C is 10.8. So obviously that one is a decimal. If they give it to you as a decimal, leave it that way. But when you do your other numbers, if you want to go ahead and still round to the nearest whole number, you can. If you're like, well, you know, if you're like all about the significant figures thing and you're like, well, but that one has one decimal place, I want to do that. I'm not going to mark off if you give me a decimal. It just makes nicer numbers if you do whole numbers. get it? All right, what do we get? Or so, angle A.
66 degrees.
Okay, I'm gonna just do the stuff that we didn't know. Side A
10.
and side B.
4.
Okay. Obviously, side C we technically knew, so. Or angle C, I mean. Words are not working this morning, apparently. All right, so to what I gave you yesterday, I'm just adding on, let's see, we stopped at 17 yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna add on 23 and 27. And then I'll go create a tab for that as well.